So hello everyone and welcome back to Hemel-Down Model Railway. So in today's video I'm just going to show you a little update on what I've been working on currently. So what I'm going to do is just show you a few clips and pictures of some of the little bits of work that I've been doing, and then I'll give you a little bit of a layout tour and just describe what the plans are and how far I've got with it. So thanks for joining, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video and I will speak to you at the end. So what I've also done now is to add in the first bit of grey paint down on all of the rock sections, so they've all been plastered. I've still got a little bit more, as you can see down here, to do some more painting on, to add in a few more tones and stuff. But that's another little area that's complete, and that'll be then ready for some static grass on the top. And then I can, all in one hit, is do that big brown streak down the middle there of static grass as well, and blend that all in, and then I can get all my trees and stuff put up in through this middle section here with this bit on the end here as well. So as you can see, I've done first lot of sort of rock painting and stuff up on the top there, giving that a little bit of texture. I've still got to add a few more washes over the top just to kind of blend it in a little bit more, but that's another area done. And then moving over to these sections here, there's some more grey painting that I've done on these edges. So once I get the static grass on there, they should blend in quite nicely. And then I'll be adding a few more sort of bushes and colours just to kind of blend those in quite nicely as well. So this is today's project. What I'm going to do is build a little bit of a retaining wall just on this section here. I'm then going to be adding a small back scene along this under section here. With this here, what I'm thinking of doing is attaching some LED lighting on the back so that it will then sort of light up all of this section here. Because this section is removable with these boards on here, what I have done is to place in an old engine shed, and what I'm going to have here is just a disused line, so a bit of a rusted up bit of track. So I've just popped in place a bit out of the old track that I had in a box. What I'm going to do is put a really sort of rusted up kind of scrappage loco body on that piece of track, just so it looks like it's kind of like an old engine works place. Have a load of like wheels dotted around, carriage frames or wagon frames and bits of loco all along there. And then with this line here, it will then sort of join up to here, set of points that will come off down there, and it will look like that used to be attached in the past. And then that can kind of be sort of like a train sort of scrappage yard, kind of in the back where they sort of break bits down and stuff. And then with a bit of sort of low lighting in there, I think that will look quite good. And then that will tail off then to more of a kind of rural or industrial section that will go down on the bottom section. Then with the top here, what I'm going to do is just build a little wall that will just sort of cap off this corner here, and then at some parts in these there'll be like some kind of stone pillars and stuff all in this section. So when I'm doing any sort of running shots from here, you'll see some sort of back scene in the background there. And then with this, I'll probably turn this into sort of some archways and stuff like that, just so that you've got a little bit of depth in about 2 foot space. So the whole idea of this is really just to create a little bit of sort of depth perception and make it seem like it's maybe 4 foot rather than 2 foot wide. So adding in some sort of tunnels there, a little scene going on in the background that you'll be able to see with some lighting, and then you'll have all the locos sort of running along here. And then what I'm going to do is add then and start working on a little sort of factory that will be down in here, maybe with a little sort of scrapyard or something on there. I don't know, I'm not too sure on that one yet. And then I can start planning in a little bit more of like the town scene and stuff up on that section. So that'll be done in this video. What I'm going to show you is just a few pictures and maybe just some little clips of it being built. And then what I'll do with the top of this section here, once I've got all of this base bit done, is then I'll add probably sort of about, I don't know, 5 or 6 inches in height, a little back scene that will run along the top, and there'll just be a fence with some low relief sort of building backs. So it kind of looks like when you're from this chasing any trains along here, it'll just look like a completely different scene to the one that'll be at the bottom there. Right, so let's crack on. It's probably a little bit easier to show you some of the bits as I'm going along rather than just talking about this as an idea. So let's see how much I can get done over the next couple of days, and yeah, I will speak to you at the end of the video. So this is a little mock-up of this section that I'm working on, and what I've done is to cut so 2 centimeter boards just on the top of this section here, and then these will be some buttresses that will go up, and then I'll trim those off at the top along there, and then to hide that very edge along there, there'll be a flat piece of board that will sort of join to hide the seam between the two, and then that will be brick papered as well, so then that will hide some of the edging and the gaps with the paper. So just put a loco up on the top just so that when I'm running some shots up here, I still wanted to get it kind of at the right sort of height. And so I think it's going to work quite nicely. I think that will add quite a nice little bit to the scene, and then I can start working on getting like the tunnel portals done to link up with this section here. And then as you can see, this section, like I said before, will be all lit up, but it kind of has some sort of farm and houses and stuff in the back there. And then to disguise that edge, I'm just going to add in some bushing, and then sort of in front of the bushing I'll then put a little fence, like a half-size fence, just to create the depth, and then I'll be able to sort of ballast up into the fence there, so it'll just look like it's further afield with a fence that you can sort of see through a bit of the scenery at the back there. So I haven't quite got the fencing or anything yet, so what I will do is to add all the bush detail down the bottom there, and then once I ballast in that section, I'll then place my fencing kind of along the line side just to sort of blend that in. And for now, what I'm going to do is just to continue working on this section here. I've got a little bit more brick paper that I can do on those top sections, and then I need to order some more just to be able to wrap those brickwork that will come down on those pillars as well, so that will all kind of blend in and give a little bit of sort of 3D effect to the brickwork as well. So pretty pleased with a little bit of progress. It's nice to kind of get some of this scene put together, and I'll take you now over to the other side and show you what I've been working on. So as you can see on this section here, what I've been doing is to start blending in the colours for the rocks. I'm still not quite finished yet, so I want to add some more rock detail. Moving further up to this end, you can see where it's just like spilt paint and glue, so I'll be kind of blending that in to kind of match up some of the rocks that look like in this sort of section here. There's still a few more colours to add, a bit more blending in to do, but it's a bit of a start. Like I say, the drying times are much better now, so once I get my base layers down, I'll be able to crack on quite nicely. And what I have done is to add in a bit of a castle. So this was off eBay, and what I'm going to do is blend it all into the rock facing, adding some broken bricks and rock as if it's been sort of integrated into the landscape for quite a few hundred years. And then I'll be toning all these walls down as well on this section here. So I think, looking from a distance, you'll have kind of a scene with the bridge there, and then leading over to a bit of a ruined castle and stuff. So I think when that's all blended in, and then I've got a load of like static grassing and sort of I'm going to do a few little car spaces just along that little bridge, and maybe sort of a little bit of a car space in here where people can go and sort of see the castle. And then when I grass the top, I'll do a few little sort of pathways leading round and stuff, and then kind of fence off any bits that are kind of like broken. So I'm going to make this into a whole little sort of scene in itself. Like I say, it won't be just left that colour. It will all be made like quite old, and once it's blended in, it won't look like it's kind of sort of stuck on the top there. So that's the idea for that one. I think from a distance here you can start to see some of the rock colours coming through, so I'll add a few more tones in that, but there's going to be a lot of sort of overgrown weeds and bushes, trees and everything all around in this section, so it should sort of blend into the background quite nicely. Then what I'll be doing then is to match that section there exactly the same way that I've painted up this section here. So once all that one's finished, I'll then get all the rock facings done on this one, and then I'll start to blend in all of this castle up in this section here. So I think that's a good little addition. It was a nice little find on eBay. I think that's going to work out quite nicely. And then because it will be some sort of you know, like National Trust or Heritage Site or something like that to go with the Heritage Railway. I'm going to get some little signs made up, some little tourist signs. And this is what will be Crossways Castle in memory of Bernie, so I just thought I would call it Crossways after his channel. And then I've just got a little piece on my layout that's in dedication to Bernie. So he always kept sort of saying about how well my scenery is coming on, so I thought I'd do a little piece for him and kind of keep his name on the layout as well. So I've just temporarily clipped in the iron bridge that's going to be on this section. Still got a lot more weathering to do on it. As you can see with these bits, you can still see all of the grey through it, so I just want to add a little bit of weathering down on here. I'm going to add in a few little greens and stuff like that as well. But this is where the iron bridge will be placed, and then what I'm going to do is to have some little pillar girders, maybe some stone ones that will just drop down in about 2 or 3 places just on the end there. And then with this edge, what I'll do is I'll blend it to the same sort of colours that I've used on this, so it kind of all blends in, and then it looks like it's just sitting on some stone pillars there. And then there'll be one that will be over on the other side there. Just gives a little bit of interest. Once I get rid of all that brickwork and stuff, it'll give quite a nice little scene there with it coming out from the castle and like the rocks and the hillside onto then will be sort of bridges and tunnels that will go all the way down on this section. So I'll have a mixture of bridges and iron bridges, etc., all down on this section. So I think that's gonna look quite good in there. Just gives another little bit of interest onto the layout and something else to look at as another kind of little focal point. With this tunnel here, I'm going to be moving it out just ever so slightly onto that corner bit, and then building up a little bit of an embankment with just some like grasses and stuff and bushes that will kind of blend all of that corner in there as well. So this little section is starting to take shape. I've glued in the kind of buttresses that go up through there, and then where you see where the plywood is, there's going to be another little bit of card that will go across that will have brick papers on it as well. And then because it's 3mm card, got a little bit of an edge there where I can put some capping stones on the top there, and then that should tie off that scene quite nicely. Then with this little bit here, so I'm just going to build a bit of an archway on there and put some edging stones around the edge for a tunnel there, and sort of frame almost that building in the background with a little sort of tunnel entrance there. And then there'll be sort of a few girder supports, like brick girder supports, that will go down here, and then have along here some very small girder bridges and iron bridges all along on the top section there. So it goes from kind of a stoneworky town kind of scene that will then match up with the papers and stuff that I've got for the bit of the station. It will kind of stretch around there, and then it will fade off into more ironwork and iron bridges that will go all the way down on that section, and then lead off into the castle, and then link back up to what will be kind of iron bridges up on the top there. It's not glued in, but they're done as individual pieces, and then what I can do is then wrap those as well. Once I get some more brick paper to kind of wrap those, I wanted to make sure that I could take them off so that I could do all the edging and stuff so that it matches up quite nicely and gives that sort of 3D effect. Then what I'm going to do is pinhole into the actual brickwork, and then what I'm going to do, put some very small little pinholes into the actual woodwork itself, and then using, and if it will focus, and then using the little ends of some seafoam is to then poke and glue them in place so that it looks like it's coming out of the actual brickwork itself, as if it's been there for quite a while. Especially near this edge here where it's near to the line side, you probably would have got some weeds that have come through like the mortar gaps and stuff. So that'll be a little detailing part that I'll add to it, and just sort of kind of cover up that seam, and then add in a few sort of dotted around in the actual brickwork. And then what I can do then is just add a load of bushes and brambles all up along the bottom of this section here. So I think that'll look quite good. I've not seen it tried before. I've actually sort of drilling into kind of like the brickwork, as it were. I mean, I know that you get quite a lot of ivy, but I just thought with this stuff here, it would look quite good, kind of creeping out of the brickwork itself. Like I said, I'll just use very, very tiny sort of the end pieces. So I'm literally talking sort of, you know, a piece that sort of size, just sort of poking little bits of weeds out through the ends. So I'll have to make up a load of these. I've got a load of little bits and pieces that I can just use, add some leaves to, and then yeah, detail all that part up on there. So thank you very much for joining me on this small update. It's only been a little bit of progress, but I've still got a few more days to crack on with it. But I thought I would just sort of post this midway through the update, just to kind of show you some of the works that I've been up to over the past few days, and some of the progress that has been happening on the layout. So I hope that you've enjoyed the video, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye for now.